All right, we're going to do a quick video to show us how to do a single view drawing, including construction lines as well as reading information from the drawing itself. The dimensions and being able to read and figure out the dimensions is the most important part. So it's not a race to get the drawing done. You should actually take time to look at the instructions and look at the sizes because it's the most important. So before we begin, we make sure that we're in drafting and annotate, which I am, keeps the ribbon like this. Then we go to layer properties and we're going to click on the stack of paper with the light. It's a new layer. Call it construction. And I'm going to select magenta for my color, but you should choose a color that stands out so that it's easily recognizable. If I double click, it brings the check mark down and makes this current. You can also change it here. So we're going to draw a line, and the first line that pops out to me off the drawing page is a 7 unit length to the line. So I got to zoom in on mine. There's the line right there. Now, the second part is kind of neat because the 2.1 doesn't work out with the 35-degree angle with the measurement they give us. So there's a couple ways you could do it. I'm just going to use the line that they give us. So in order to get this line that comes back on an angle of 35 degrees at a distance of 3.6, I'm going to set my angle setter or my polar coordinate to 5 degrees. I'm going to draw a line from this front point. Now this is 180 degrees straight out. I got to be 35 degrees off of that, which is 145. And then I just type the distance, 3.6, enter. On the back side here, I'm going to draw a line just randomly up. It doesn't matter how tall. And then I'm going to copy this line, select it, choose a base point, move to the side I want it. And I'm going to move it 2 units forward. So with these ones previously made, I'm also going to set this to 10 degrees so it's a little easier. I'm going to do this line that comes down. Now 180 degrees is here and I need to go 40 degrees past it. So that's 220 degrees, just like that. And the distance they give me is 4 units. So there we go. There's our other point location right there. We're now going to switch back to our object layer. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose circle and I'm going to go center radius and I'm going to click right here. And this one's a radius of 1. On the inside, we have to go to center diameter because it gives us the width of this slot. So we can figure out that the diameter is 0.6. So when we click here and type 0.6, it gives us the size of the circle we got. We're then going to copy it. So we choose the base point of displacement and move it to the other line we made. That will preset the slot. We then have to draw a line. Now, before we draw this line, we want to go to our OSNAP settings and make sure quadrant's on. Mine is. We draw from one bottom to the other bottom, and you could mirror this if you want, but I'm just going to draw it from the top as well. So with that done, I can go to trim and I can get rid of these parts of the circle we no longer need. Makes the little slot for us. So if we go to the front side here, our little circle, there's 2 circles the same size, and it says right at the top, 2 places and a diameter of 0.75. We go to diameter, we click here, 0.75.
Mrs. Bishop, call on 100 for you. Mrs. Bishop.
And then I'm going to copy from the center point here all the way to the end of the line we already made. So that gives us our 2 circles of diameter 0.25. I'm going to draw a circle radius up top, and if you look closely, it says our radius is 0.8. So that one goes there. And the radius on the front circle is 1.25. So we need to join these with an arc that has a radius of 2. So we're going to go to circle and we're going to choose tan radius. The tangent of this circle to the tangent of this circle with a radius of 2. Makes our circle for us. We trim the stuff we don't want. So that makes the front side. Down here at the lower part, we have a center diameter circle at the end of this line of 1. And then we've got a radius outside of that, center radius of 1 as well. So we get to use the same trick for this bottom one to join them. We go back to tan radius in the circle, tangent of here to tangent of here, and a radius of 3. Once again, we trim the stuff we don't want. It's moving right along now, but it is about to get a little bit trickier, so we have to get a little fancy here. We're going to draw a line from the quadrant here straight out. And then we're going to join this one using fillet. And our radius, I'm going to click on here, I'm going to set it to 2, is going to go from here to here. So that gives us our radius of 2 measurement. So I can trim this part of the circle right out. Very nice. At the top, we're also going to draw a line from the quadrant straight forward, but I'm also going to draw a line from this quadrant down. And I'm going to fillet these two, and it's got a radius of 1, so I select radius, type in 1, click this one to this one, and it gives us our nice little turn. If we go right off the circle there, it messes our turn up a little bit. We're going to trim this, and we've got our basic shape almost complete. The only thing else we need to do is, I'm going to turn off our construction layer for a minute. I'm going to trim, and this time when I trim, I'm going to choose my cutting edges of here and here, and get rid of that. We also have to do the same at the front, trim, cutting edge, and there's our general shape. So if we turn back on our construction layer, we've got all our key points already marked out for us. So we now need to add dimensions. So we're going to go back to layer properties. We're going to select new, and I'm going to go dim because I'm too lazy to write the whole word, and I'm going to pick the color red for this one. So to dimension this, I have to make it current first. There's a couple things we need to check. If I go dim style, I end up getting this box, and I can modify these as I see fit. So for example, if I look at primary units, my precision right now is 2 decimal places. I'm going to change it to 1 decimal place. Let's see how these look. So my first one, I'm going to go
Mr. Bremer, could you please come to the office?
linear dimension, and I'm going to go from the center of this circle to the end of this extension line. I'm going to drag it up. Now the first thing I notice, my text is way too big. My arrowheads are a bit big. So I type dim style, and I go modify, and I'm going to go to text, and the first thing I'm going to do is change this to 0.5. I'm also going to go to my arrowheads and change that to I'm going to go 0.3. I like them just a little bit smaller. We're going to go close, close, and it looks a bit better size-wise. So if I go back to dim style, and I go fit, I can change around here where they're located. So I want to always keep between. Bam. Modify. Text. Horizontal. So it's easier to read that way. Okay. Okay. So if I go back to dim style again, it's showing them in the middle, and I want to set it like that. So I'm gonna go back to fit. So the next one I'm gonna add is gonna be linear as well. And it's gonna be from here to here, and it's 2. Then I can go and I can add, okay, a radius. And I can click on this big one here and it's got a radius of 1. So I want you to mess with the sizes and placement, and I want you to dimension all the ones you see here. The one that might give us grief is the aligned. So we can go between these 2 points and then drag it out. It's located there. So by having them on separate layers, you can turn layers on and off at your leisure. So add the rest of those dimensions and save it as SV2.